Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the CopBlock Radio Show's interview series. CopBlock Radio is a show dedicated to police accountability in the police state. If you're involved with any of the local CopBlock or Peaceful Street projects or any other police accountability group and you'd like to come on and talk about what's going on in your neck of the woods, feel free to email us at CopBlockRadioShow@gmail.com, or you can find us through the Facebook page. And there was some confusion on when we were going to start tonight, and if you had liked the Facebook page, you would know what we'd be doing right now. So if you if you couldn't find us today, then like our Facebook page so you can stay up to date with what's going on. I'm your host, Derrick, and you can find me over at freerockpress.com and ohiocopblock.org. And you can find those both on Facebook as well. And with me tonight, as always, is Adam from Spokane CopBlock, which you can find them on Facebook. And remember to tune in every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for our regular show that we do. And make sure to tune in next week because we're going to have Ademo, the founder of CopBlock, on joining us for the entire show, which is really nice. So anyways, as I said, this is our interview series, and we have a very special guest with us tonight. Joining us from, are you still on Exile? I think you're still on Exile.
I am in Exile,
okay.
Yes.
So, and now you just heard him, but he's the, you can see him in the film Victimless Crime Spree, which you can watch for free at victimlesscrimespree.com, and he's the man behind the 5-minute daily Liberty News podcast, Peace News Now, which you can find at PeaceNewsNow.com. So with us, we have the rabble-rousing but always lovable guy, Derrick J. Freeman.
It's great to be with you, Eric and Adam. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm looking forward to the day that Ademo is going to be on. That's exciting. Next week, Tuesday. I'll be watching.
All right. So why don't you tell us a little about yourself for those who have been living under the rock void of liberty, because if you have been, then you don't know who this person is. So.
Sure. So my name is Derrick J., and I am a freedom activist from Philadelphia, and I got tired with seeing tyranny all around me, so I moved to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project in 2011, where I got active with producing media on a YouTube channel and also doing civil disobedience. And after 5 arrests, I found myself facing serious jail time, and I decided to make lemonade and make a documentary out of all of the footage that I had gathered from my arrests and all the time in between. And that's exactly what I did. As you mentioned, Eric, people can watch that video free at victimlesscrimespree.com. If you want to know a little more about it, there are free trailers there also. And it's just a free movie on YouTube. You can also buy it if you want to support me and my work at order.victimlesscrimespree.com. And as you mentioned also, I'm currently spending my days producing a daily podcast, which is 5 minutes in length. There's also a video accompaniment, and that's at PeaceNewsNow.com. We've also got a YouTube page, which is youtube.com/PeaceNewsNow.
All right. So you're talking about what happened in Victimless Crime Spree. What's a few things that happened to you during that time?
So I was arrested for dancing in the park. I was arrested for smoking openly. I was arrested for filming in City Hall, which is, that was a real surprise. And then the most surprising arrest was when I was arrested for standing outside of a courthouse. All of these things, of course, involve no victim, and I believe I should be left alone. If I haven't damaged any people or property, then I haven't created any victims, and so I haven't committed any crimes, and so I shouldn't be punished. But the state disagrees, and so if people want to learn more about why, they can watch the flick.
So all of this happened, a lot of it happened in Keene, correct?
Yeah, all of it happened in Keene within a 6-month period.
Which I find interesting because Keene is actually my hometown, which is where I was born.
Wow, that's awesome.
So, of course, I'm stuck in Ohio right now. But I'll be back there in 5 weeks. I'm moving back, so
cool.
That'll be nice. So, where are you now?
Right now I'm in Philadelphia.
Okay, so you're still on your exile,
Yeah.
self-imposed.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't feel safe. Most people, you mentioned my exile. The people who have watched the movie already know what that is. But after I went to jail for my victimless crime spree, the deal that I struck with the prosecutors was that I would go for 2 months of a 540-day sentence. And if I was ever arrested again anywhere in the country in the next 2 years, I would be sent back to the New Hampshire State Prison for an automatic 800 days plus whatever new charges they want to bring forward. So I'm doing my very best to lay low and just produce media, and I'm in a safe place in Philadelphia. Not too much going to happen here. So, and then I anticipate going back to New Hampshire, and of course, going there to live free. I'm not looking to get arrested some more. I've got plenty to do, and I think most people are more productive outside of a cage than inside. So that's going to be my goal going on forward.
Definitely. Do you know what the time frame on that's going to be?
Well, I've got 1 year left, actually. May 7th, last week, was the 1 year anniversary of me walking into the Keen Spiritual Retreat, as I call it. And so I've got 1 year left on that 2 year suspended sentence.
Cool. So one of the criticisms that come up a lot that I've seen posted lately is about, at the beginning of the film, you talk about not taking a plea, but then in the end, you ended up taking a plea. And you want to talk about that?
Sure, yeah, and I thank you for the question, because I'm delighted that I can be here today to answer that question, which never would have arisen had I refused the plea. In my opinion, I would have been serving a lot more jail time if I had taken the plea than had I. If I hadn't taken the plea, then had I. And that's why I decided it's a damage mitigation. I'm going to. Do you want to get punched in the face, or do you want to get kicked in the knee? It was one of those options, and I was facing 10 years total. So the idea was I'm more productive outside of a cage than inside, so I should really just do whatever I can to mitigate the damage to myself. And, the movie wouldn't have been made if I had taken the plea. I would have been spending all of that time fighting charges in court. It really is not worth it. I don't know if you've seen the movie, but just to give a cursory overview, I faced 5 different arrests totaling about 12 different charges, and so I would have had 5 different trials. And if I were found guilty on any one of those charges in each of those 5 trials, I would have been in jail preparing for my next trial. And that is no place to be if you expect to win. So, that was just, there was not an option. It was really just I had to take the plea. And for what I did, I had to negotiate while on house arrest from my bedroom, from my computer, typing emails to 3 different prosecutors to negotiate a global plea for all of this. So, it's not something that I enjoy, but it was something I had to do.
Yeah, it seems that the don't take a plea should have a few caveats with it, because obviously if there is no chance of a positive outcome, then it can sometimes be the beneficial thing to do. And as I know a few other people have said and have done, that reject the first plea, because the second one's going to be a lot better than going right out.
Well, that's a great point. That's really well put, Eric. Because yeah, it should have some caveats. Like if you're going to do don't take the plea deal activism, the best way to do it is like with parking tickets and low-level offenses, and make sure you draw it out as long as can be, and cost them as much time and money as can be, because that's really clogging up the system. That's what the don't take the plea deal stuff is about. But yeah, so yeah, I agree with you.
Adam, you got anything?
Yeah, I was more curious on the lines of, I know you've done a little bit of work with Adam Kokesh and Adam versus the Man, and I know me and Eric are pretty well big supporters of Adam Kokesh and what he does. Basically, just curious about how was your time with him, and how did you enjoy that?
I loved producing AVTM. I really enjoyed writing for the show. For a good 3 months, I lived and worked with Adam every day over in Virginia, outside of DC. It's a stretch outside of DC. It was about an hour away, and um, I think my work speaks for itself. You can tell that I was writing the show and that I enjoyed what I was doing while I was there. Certainly, I didn't enjoy that afterwards. I felt obligated to make public videos announcing that the deal hadn't worked out exactly as I had hoped, and then I really felt let down about that. And I'm left with a bad taste in my mouth from Adam Kokesh because he did not honor his word to me. And for whatever it's worth, I have to be open and honest about that if I want to live in a free and open society.
Oh yeah, I understand that. Other question. Obviously, you are a huge advocate of Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
I use it, and you actually personally helped me out with some of it when I had some questions.
Excellent.
What is your take on what was it, yesterday or the day before, the DOJ freezing Bitcoin?
Oh man, that just cracks me up. Doesn't it kill you? I mean, it's unfortunate in the meantime. It's such a first world problem. Like, we can't be too upset. No one's losing their lives over a Dwala account going down, but it is something to laugh about. It really is. It's like, I don't know, someone like a child trying to hold on to water, and they're just, it's all of the water just drips out. The more you tighten your grip, everything's going to fall out, and that's exactly what's happening with the government. It's hopeless for them. It's over, and they might know it at some level, but they're just scratching. Can we crumble this? Can we make it difficult for them? Yeah, I mean, people are gonna find a way around it. Obviously, there's no hope for the government regulating Bitcoin.
No, it was
funny to watch them try.
More or less, I was talking with Eric about it earlier. I was bringing up the fact I think it proves that it's working with the fact that they grabbed at it like that.
Yeah, and also the price. I don't know if you noticed, but the price of Bitcoin, while volatile, is also. I mean, this sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but while volatile, it's also pretty stable. What I mean by that is it can handle a news like that. Like, I forget what the last big crash was, but then, it just pops right back up. It doesn't go, I don't know, it finds equilibrium. There seems to be something special about the Bitcoin market that people still have faith. Nothing, these big news items aren't shaking people, and that gives me a lot of confidence. And I have confidence because the software is open. Anyone can go investigate it for themselves. That's not the case with any other currency that I know of. So, including gold and silver, because some people misreport about their vaults. So Bitcoin, for me, is the currency about which people can know the most, and that gives me a lot of confidence.
Yeah,
I'm amazed even with this news coming out. Although it could just be because of the lockdown on trading, that the price hasn't budged today at all. Is that because of the seizure, or is it just because people are just kind of holding it close to the vest right now?
Well, I'm not a financial analyst by any stretch, but I can say that I view the charts regularly. And what I've noticed is that despite Bitcoin's past few years of volatility, lately it seems to have found a comfort zone between like $100 and $120, and it's just been trading in that channel. For what it's worth, that seems to be the market price, somewhere around there for the moment.
Cool. Adam, you got anything else?
I guess my only last thing would be obviously your current project with the PeaceNewsNow. What is, I don't know how to really word it well. What's the end goal with that? I mean, obviously it's good content and it's good stuff. What is like you just like alternative news, or is there a final goal to that?
Yeah, so the goal is peaceful resistance, and I believe that freedom can come in our lifetime, and all it would take is for a mass group of people to peacefully resist organized coercion. And that just takes some encouragement. And so what I do, since I'm not able to go out and do civil disobedience myself right now, is put a spotlight on the people who are. I've been highlighting the acts of civil disobedience all across the globe all year, and I want to keep that going for as long as possible because it seems to be, it might just be my perception, but it seems to be that more and more peaceful resistance is happening, and that really excites me. And it gives me hope for the future and hope for freedom in my lifetime. And that's what I want to see, and that's the message I want to put out. So that's where people can find it, at PeaceNewsNow.com.
So you're a pretty outspoken person in general, and you like to get yourself out there, and obviously a lot of your life as of late has been covered in video format. How do you deal with some of the criticisms that you receive, or especially that, like, we're seeing on Reddit apparently recently, some just downright vile and vicious and harsh criticisms that you get? How do you deal with those type of mentalities of the he got what he deserved type of people?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it's something that, for me, comes from first having a loving, protecting, encouraging, supportive family and friends in my young life. And then when I became older, realizing that I was gay was something that I also had to overcome, because that's not, as it's not the norm. And so you're the other. And so just getting to deal with that in life gives a person practice at just being comfortable with yourself and not letting other people's opinions get inside. Sort of putting up a wall of, like, I use the internet as a one-way communication. For a lot of times I speak with people on Facebook, and that's where I do a lot of emails. Is two-way communication, obviously, but for the most part, I really try and make the internet my bitch and just put out as much content as I can, and whatever people say about it is great. I'm just glad they're watching.
That's kind of the tack that we've taken with a few individuals who like to hate on everything. So we kind of bombard them with insufferable kindness, and
yes.
Then it just kind of goes from there.
We have our one avid listener.
Oh, great!
that seems to come on every video we've done in a negative manner, so we come back at him with positive every time.
I think it's wonderful, and I encourage you to reach out to this individual as much as possible. It was advice given to me by a demo when he started with CopBlock. There were a few trolls, but there was one in particular who was really persistent in making video responses, and he incorporated some of those troll-like video responses into the official CopBlock videos. And it was a great idea. It got even more attention that way, and it really, everyone likes to be interactive and be included. So trolls included, and everyone's a part of this conversation.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you have so Derrick, you have anything else you wanna say?
Well, I want to say thank you. Well, also, CopBlock in particular, as an organization, like when I was starting with PeaceNewsNow, I was deciding really between CopBlock and starting my own, like, media channel outlet thing, because CopBlock is such an exciting organization to me, and I'm sure you guys would agree, because of its, first of all, because it's decentralized, that there's no one person in charge, but the idea is so universal that anyone who hears the idea of like, oh yeah, filming cops and making sure that they have an objective, record that anyone can see and verify, and it's always going to be the same. It's not hearsay or anyone's say so. That's a really exciting thing, and it's really only possible within the last 10 years that we can share all of this information about what the so-called public servants are doing. And with police, they are the teeth of the state. They're the ones who use the violence. All the Congress people and politicians in the world could write all the laws they want, but if it's not the police enforcing them, then it's meaningless. It's just words on paper. So what you guys are doing by focusing on the police and the violence inherent in the system is really where the rubber meets the road. And I'm so glad that you're out there doing it.
Cool. Well, it's so great to have you on. I was really happy that Adam texted me. He's like, "Guess what I got?" I'm like, "I don't know. Who knows?" He's like, "I got Derrick J." I'm like, "Sweet, that's awesome." Because like I said, I'm from Keene, so all the stuff that you did interests me because it all happened in my hometown. So I'm watching the video. I'm like, oh man, that's all. It's like I missed this all. Why am I not there? But I'll be there in a couple of weeks. So
well, you don't have to miss it, and I do want to make sure that I plug, if people are curious about civil disobedience and they want freedom in their lifetimes, don't miss freestateproject.org. That's where you can learn about 20,000 liberty lovers who are all converging into the same geographic location to get active for liberty. What a great idea, and it's already working, so you should check it out.
Definitely, and don't let people say that the natives don't want you there, because I'm a native and I want you there. So
right on.
I hope people check out the Free State Project at freestateproject.org. So thanks a lot for coming on. Everybody make sure to check out his film Victimless Crime Spree at victimlesscrimespree.com, and make sure to subscribe to his podcast Peace News Now, which you can also find at PeaceNewsNow.com. My name's Eric. You can find me at freerockpress.com and ohiocopblock.org. And with me, as always, I had Adam from Spokane CopBlock, and you can find them over on Facebook. And make sure to check out our Facebook so you can make sure you're up to date on what's going on, because we had a few time shifts back and forth back to our original time. And make sure to tune in on Tuesday at 9 p.m., and we're going to have a demo on with us for the regular show. So until then, remember that badges don't grant.